welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Elsie Godwin, and this is Reviews on the Couch, where we discuss movies, how they made us feel, and lessons we can pick from them. If this is your first time of visiting this channel, please subscribe by clicking the red button below, and also please hit the bell button so you get notified each time there is a new content. Thank you. On this episode of Reviews on the Couch, we are discussing a 2020 Nigerian romance drama film titled Kambili The Whole 30 Yards. The movie was directed by Kayode Kasum and it's currently showing on Netflix. The movie features Nancy Isime, Mauli Gavo, Jide Kene Achufosi, Sharon Oja, and others. The story is about a lady determined to marry before she turns 30, who tries to change her impulsive ways and do whatever it takes to win back the boyfriend who left her. Joining me on this episode to review this movie is Folashayo Adefemi, who is the founder of the Shmothers Tribe, a support community of single moms. Also joining this episode is Deoye Falade, a communication executive, a writer, and from time to time, Deoye reviews movies on his platform and others like TNS and Afri Review.
All right, thank you, Deoye, and thank you, Fola, for being my guest on this episode. We're reviewing Kambili, The Whole 30 Yards. And before we get into the lessons the movie tries to portray, I'm hoping that Fola will be able to shed some light in what women feel when it comes to pressure to get married. I know Deoye will be able to give us a bit of it as well. But before we get into all that, Deoye,
How will I be able to
what
give you what?
Deoye, what do you think about the movie? I mean, you review movies when you feel like, and I know you're a writer and all that. So, in terms of the storyline and the acting, basically reviewing a movie from a professional angle, what would you say about the movie?
Yeah, I was very skeptical before seeing it, but when I did see it, I really liked it. A lot of people have issues when it comes to you hear a lot of reviewers, you hear a lot of people when they talk about stories and they want like complicated plots, plot twists, and everything. But sometimes I think that a simple story is really beautiful. Yeah. And in this case, it told the story from point A to B. It was pretty much like predictable. You kind of knew where the story was going to end once you start watching it, but you still want to see how the story goes. And then the acting, God, the acting was really, really good. So you were interested enough in the characters. I found myself liking even the characters that were not the lead characters. Like, okay, of course, we know that Kambili was the lead character, or he is the lead character. But I found myself liking her friends. Like within in 3 or 4 scenes, I was already
Mm-hmm.
liking our friends. It didn't take me so long. I didn't need to get any backstory or whatever. Like just seeing them be with her, everybody rubbed off on each other. There was so much good, like there was a lot of good chemistry, and that just made everyone endearing and really, really fun to watch.
Generally, I think it was a good movie. It was a superb movie. When I watched it, I was going through a similar phase myself. In fact, my friends called my attention to it. And look, you need to go and watch this thing. You need to go and watch this movie. Because the way you feel, I could completely relate to Kambili's story. I could completely relate to wanting to get the guy back at all means. Trying to do right, and forgetting yourself, just wanting to get somebody's attention by all means. I could completely relate to the feeling of not being enough for someone. I could totally relate. I could also relate to her mom, being a single mom myself and having been raised by one. In fact, every aspect of the movie touched me in a different kind of way. It was just a personal connection for me. The storyline was good. The lessons from it was also good. I mean, women should be cut some slacks. We
Mm.
we cannot
Okay.
satisfy the entire world and forget about ourselves. So
Now
that's
that
how
we're
it
getting
was
to
for me.
slacks, yeah, I wish I could say that I can relate when it comes to Kambili. I mean, some parts of it, yes, I can. There are people you just want to keep and do things because you care about them, right? But she also
Mm-hmm.
had issues. She had to work on herself. Like she was impulsive, she was irresponsible at some point, and which was sort of the issue I had with the movie as well, because at the beginning, I was thinking, okay, she's the one with the issue. The guy is a good guy. And only for
Mm.
us to realize at the end that the guy is not even worth the
The
stress.
guy was,
But anyways,
yeah, I do.
moving away from that and going into the lessons, I want us to basically push it towards the pressure people feel to get married. I've had conversation where a lot of people feel like we need to allow people live their lives the way they want to. If they get to a point and they feel it's time to get married, then let them get married. If they are not ready to get married, let them do it the way they want to. But I also want to hear from you guys, and I'll start with Deoye. From We usually think that the pressure is just on the woman most times, because again, I mean, the woman would have to wait for a guy to sort of propose and make that decision. We are getting to that point where we feel like yes, a woman can propose, but practically speaking, I don't know what percentage of even the entire world that works for. So for you as a guy, how would you describe that pressure, and what effect would you say it has on us as individuals and the kind of decisions we make at the end of the day?
I think if I'm speaking generally, I would say that the pressure is can be a lot. While I would say that it's more on the woman or more on women in general, especially in this part of the world, I also think that men face some kind of pressure as well. Some of this pressure is not something I can especially relate to in the sense that I've been disappointing my parents since, so um, that's not much of a problem. But at the same time, there were times when, of course, my parents have softly said it. As I grew older, it's also became more. And me, my own was, you know what? It's either you want me to get married sharply, or whatever, or you want to stop seeing me, really. Because I would pretty much just avoid you. I am that stubborn. So I won't use my own circumstances, but I've seen guys get married because people painted it as the right thing to do. And then they get married and they're still on the streets. Um, you just see a lot of people. Some people say, okay, particular age is the right age to get married. At this point in time, I don't think so. I'm pretty much in my mid 30s, so I don't think so. At so it's not something, and then we make it look like the prize, especially for women. What I did see in that movie was that it painted marriage as something that is like a reward for good behavior. Initially, felt
Mm-hmm.
like Kambili, the only reason Kambili could not get married was because she was a mess. Yes, she had issues, right? And she needed to get her own life together. But it now made it look like the only reason she wanted to get her life together was because she wanted to get married. And not because it was like good for her as a person. Like, if I'm not married, would it not be nice if I am driven, if I am ambitious, if I am hardworking, if I'm crushing my goals and all that? I
I
think
think
it
that
would
her
be
friend
great.
tried to make her see it from that angle as well. That she needed to do all
Yes,
she was doing for herself and not for a man.
Yeah.
yes. But for me, it kind of took too long because it felt like you people are friends. You like spent like almost half of the movie pampering her before you finally got to the meat of the matter. And I'm like, well, we need to be patient with our friends. So. But at the same time, I don't know how they went on that long. Well, eventually, I guess the truth takes time to sink in, and I'm happy that it did for her.
Um,
Yeah,
Fola, I
Yeah.
mean, now we get the wahala. So tell me about pressure to get married. Just tell me about that. I
crazy.
don't even know what to ask, but just tell me about it.
But I kind of feel like the times that we're in now, nobody is really caring about at what age you get married or what age you still remain single. I think we've gone past
Ah,
that stage of, oh, you have to get married at a certain age, you have to do this. I mean,
I don't think so.
well, that's
Maybe
how I'm
maybe
seeing it nowadays. I
no,
don't
in
feel
your
like there's that much
circle.
pressure.
Yes,
If you ask me,
In
I
your
exactly.
felt
circle
Kambili was putting a lot of pressure on herself.
on
The
herself.
pressure wasn't
Okay.
coming from it wasn't coming from her friends, it wasn't coming from
No.
not
Mhm.
even her mother, it wasn't coming from her mother, it wasn't coming from it was just her putting herself in that
True.
position like I must be married before I'm 30. I must be married before I think we've gone past that. She was doing well at her job. She started a business, but all that, like Deoye mentioned, all that was towards becoming a married man. I mean, pardon, a married woman.
Woman.
Who told us that marriage is the final bus stop? Marriage is the ultimate. I'm sorry to sound like this. I've been married before,
Don't
and I've been out
apologize.
married for I've been married before and I have 2 kids and I've been out of marriage for almost 10 years now and I don't miss it. I'm sorry, but I don't miss it. So I don't know where the pressure is mostly coming from within us, looking around what is going on and what's not going on. Kambili had put all that pressure on her for no good reason, honestly, because even the guy who she was doing all that stuff for wasn't worth it. It was not worth it. Instead of her to have put all the energy into herself, loving herself, bettering herself, well, eventually she got to do all that. But it's unfortunate that she was doing it for a guy who was not worth it at all. And this is the same mistake a lot of women are making today.
Yeah.
A lot of women
price.
just want to be good for a man. You don't want to be good for yourself. You just want to be good for a man to find you worthy. But I think women are also waking up. Women are also waking up to see that it's me first. This thing they call self-love. It's me first. I should be good for myself first. I have to love myself first, appreciate myself first. It was until she started loving herself that she even got to realize that, oh, there's somebody who's here who has been loving me. And that guy was so good to her. It's just there patiently waiting for her to realize herself and come to her senses.
I don't like that's the one narrative I did not like.
Okay, go ahead.
See, because and the reason I don't like it is simple, because when it started, right, I felt that finally, I think we can finally explore the angle of a guy and a babe being good friends, right? Without any, how would I put it? You get, like, we are friends, you're my guy, I'm your guy, right? So flipping it kind of, I don't know, ruin things for me. Yeah, like, can't they just be like this? Can't they just be?
So.
Can she not meet
it's always best to end up with your bestie. That guy has seen her at her best and at her lowest. The guy has seen her in every form, so he knows her. He knows her potential. So
I can relate.
I thought that was just the best person for her. Eventually, I thought that was just the best person.
I do, but I agree. Like, it's something I can, like, specifically relate to, but at the same time, I just felt like, now wow, like, let's friends, let a male and female friend win for once. Like, they must not end up together. That was just the passport. But other than that, I really liked the fact that this guy saw everything in her and chose to say, okay, you are my friend. I chose you from the very beginning, even when they were not lovers. Like, it's very like, you find that there are people who, based on the things that are around them or circumstances, can be very difficult to love. But he still cared about her. At the core of her friends, they still chose her, they were still with her. You get, so that was the beautiful thing. Even, yes, they finally ended up dating. Personally, I didn't like that, but yes, it was awesome for both of them. So
yeah, but I mean, when you're very complicated, even when you're not complicated, there is maybe, I don't know if your soulmate in life is up to 10. So in the whole world, you have to find it. Someone person is your friend. Please don't let that pass. We that don't have best friend now, I don't know how we see soulmates. But okay.
I don't know how we
moving on.
Right?
Moving on and moving backwards, you said something that I picked on when you said you've left marriage for 10 years now and you don't miss it, right? I mean, I love that. But I also want to take you back. Do you think you made the decision to get married out of pressure and that was why maybe it didn't work out, or it just happened, life just happened?
I would say pressure, but it wasn't outside or environmental pressure. It was pressure from me. I put the pressure. I was young, I could have waited, but I chose to get married at the age when I did, because I felt like, I had mentioned before, that I was also raised by a single mom. So I felt like I needed to do this differently. I put the pressure on me, to correct what I felt was wrong in my own background, and unfortunately it was a bad decision that yielded good fruits, talking about my children now, so the pressure wasn't from anybody. I just graduated from the university. I'd done just completed my NYSC. I mean, I was a young, fine girl. I was just supposed to go into the world and enjoy life first of all, experience life first. But I thought, oh, get married. And this guy came along and he said, marriage. I said, oh, great idea.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And it felt like a miracle. It looked like a miracle. Okay, this didn't happen somewhere before. It's going to happen to you now. So why don't you snatch it, grab the opportunity and get it done and over with? But that was a big mistake, to say the truth. It was. And no regrets at all. We learn from our mistakes every day. And the things that I've had to put up with in this past 10 years, okay, let's say 12 years, because I was married for about 2 years or so. So the things I've had to put up with has actually molded me and shaped me into who I am today. That other women, I have a network of over 600 single moms that I mentor. Wow. So what I have gone through in life has put me in that position to be able to give direction, and support to other women like me.
Wow. So your response, I have two responses to that. And the first is, except you come from a family that is really maybe backward thinking and not looking at things from a modern point of view, I think the pressure really comes from us. And then secondly, it reminded me of the conversation we had last week, the last episode of Reviews on the Couch, where my guest was talking about how people that are raised from single parents are actually great partners. The difference is it might be that they want to overcompensate and then make decisions that do not work for them. But when they get into relationship, that's as opposed to what people think that they are not the best for relationship. They also want to really compensate and have something better than what their parents had. So they put in effort, they put in all the love, they put in all the care into that relationship to ensure it works. But where to draw the line is to understand that if it doesn't work, it is not your fault. You have done your part. Your parents' situation or your situation growing up was not your fault. So you have to make decisions. So those were the two things that came to mind when you were talking. However, taking it a bit back into single parenting now, because last week we discussed Fatherhood, the Kevin Hart movie, and we were talking about single parenting. You have a network of 600 single parents. That's huge. Like, imagine 600 people in your hall. How do you handle that? What would you say is the biggest challenge, and how do you handle making them understand that they can have a better life, whether they are single parents or finally find love again, because there's room to find love again?
When I first started the tribe, like I told you, it's the smallest tribe. First of all, I had to make them realize that your status does not matter. Whether you're single or you're married, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're a mother. Motherhood is the ultimate. For me, I believe that motherhood is even beyond marriage. If as a woman you have a child, you have accomplished much more than marriage. So I tried first of all to make them have that mindset that whether you're single or not, it is not the man that will come and complete you. You have to feel complete in yourself. And then being responsible for a child comes with its own package entirely. And if you have to do it alone, then you need a great deal of self-esteem and self-will to do that. So what I try to do is I make my women look within themselves to always reassure themselves of how they can be better, moms, how they can be better for themselves and for the society. Then managing the 600, we have them in different zones and different locations. So I've been able to identify certain people who can hold forth for us in the different locations. I had been serving as a head girl. That's what they call me. I've been serving as a head girl after I started the tribe 4 years ago. But only recently I've had to bow out as the head girl for somebody else with fresh ideas, with fresh insights to come in and pick up that role and move the tribe forward. So we try to hold meetings as often as we can. And it's so beautiful because we have gone beyond strangers. We're like sisters. We are so close knitted, into each other that it's almost impossible to believe these are strange women coming from all over the place to connect and just and just be. And another part of it is there's nothing like being in the midst of people who can actually relate to your story. You know, that when you're saying something, oh, this is what I'm going through, or that's what I'm going through, there's somebody there who can say, oh, yes, I actually had this experience. This is how I dealt with it. This is what I did. This is what I did not do to make sure I come out of it. So the support alone, the support that the women are getting is just so much. It's just more than enough. It's not just financially. There's how far money can go for you. I've seen women metamorphose. I've seen women completely broken, not knowing their left from their right. I've seen women, you know, who were at their lowest. I've seen them, you know, come out of that place. I've seen women come out of depression. I've seen women just grow and glow. And it's so beautiful doing this in the last 4 years. And the honest truth is, when I started the tribe, I was completely broken myself. I was looking to heal. I had been through therapy, I'd been through counseling, and I just needed to connect with people who could, you know, relate to my own story. And it was in that I found my own healing, just relating with these women and being with them, sharing, telling our stories and finding the way forward. That's how I was able to heal from my own hurts.
I love what you have said, and I really love your mindset towards it all, because it's not coming from a bitter place. It's coming from a place of vulnerability and understanding that you're human and you need the strength or a support group, a support system to move forward. So I'm very should I use the word happy again, or I just know that is a healthy environment, so that makes me proud. But to wrap this all up, I have 2 more questions for both of you. The first would be your advice to people who are genuinely pressured, because trust me, there are people who they're probably looking at their friends getting married every week and they can't even have a boyfriend, right? Or they're thinking, oh, I said I was going to get married at 25, I'm 30, I'm not married yet, I'm over 30, I'm not married. Beyond the pressure we give ourselves from within, this is the ones that come to people who are exposed and know that there's more to life beyond marriage. For those who really want to get married, like it's their goal. And I don't fault anybody's goal. If it's your goal, man, do you, right? What would you say to them? What advice would you give to them, male, female? What advice? Deoye.
Okay, from somebody who has lived long enough, I would say what I would say to guys really is for them to not rush it, right? And then when you want to marry, actually marry for the right reasons. Because I find there are people who told me at one time or the other years ago that, guy, if it is because you still want to date or you still don't feel like committing to one person, marry now, you still feel they're wrong waiting you the wrong, right? And I'm like, why would I want to do that? You get. So I think a lot of guys actually do it because it looks like the next best step for them to take in life, right? So yeah, I have a job, I've done this. Essentially, don't make marriage a checklist. Like, it's just one of the things you need to do to feel like you're a real man or you are something, or to become responsible or anything. Do it because you actually like the person you want to marry enough to want to spend the rest of your life with them. So that's what I would say to guys, because most of the time I find out that the pressure for guys is different from the pressure for women. The pressure is usually about, and you have all this, what are you waiting for, right? And you can pretty much marry anybody. I don't think so. I think that you should marry who you like, who you really care about, and who you see yourself building a life and a future with.
See that Kambili's mother, Kambili's mom. She's my heroine in all that. The woman is just full of life. It didn't matter how old she was. She found love and she grabbed it. So having said that, I would say that there's no hurry in this thing called marriage. Wait till you find your G. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter who he is or how he comes. You know, she ended up with a younger man. And it doesn't matter. What matters is love. That's what I believe. Love. If the love is not there, then it will not work. You will just have to bear it, and I mean, or endure it rather. And marriage is not a relationship that we should endure. Marriage is not a relationship that we should manage. It's supposed to be a relationship that's based on understanding, and love. Yeah, of course, nobody comes perfect. Nobody has got it all together. But if two people identify that they can actually manage their imperfections together and still ball and still, have fun, then that is when they should think about marriage. We just shouldn't just be rushing and jumping into marriage because, oh, we feel like it's time. Oh, my biological clock is ticking. Oh, this, oh, that. I would advise that people should really, really take their time.
All right, thank you so much. And my final question is just for you to review the movie on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're going to do that, what will it be for you, Dewi?
I'll give it a 7.5, and my reasons are the fact that it told the story well enough. Technically was very, very good. Technically, I'm talking about sound, I'm talking about the framing, I'm talking about the photography. Everything worked well. And then, yes, one more thing, or one or two more things. It is genuinely funny, right? So it's not exactly like a romantic comedy, but if you've seen enough Nigerian or Nollywood romantic comedies, you would find that they don't exactly they try too hard to be funny. This was like every moment or a lot of moments in this film they didn't have to try too hard. They just rubbed off on everything that was going around, and you could find pockets of funny moments in between things that were just flowing naturally. Like when it was her birthday, and then she was in the house with her friends, and then she had the knock on the door. And she was just like, "My landlord." You know that she was owing rent, right? You know she was owing rent. You know a lot of things were going on with her. But the moment she just said, "Ah, my landlord," I laughed my ass out. And I could say that for a lot of other moments in the film. So I think that in in essence, like it's a romantic comedy, and then it lived up to that billing.
For me, I think I would give the movie 7. Acting was good. Storyline was equally good. The message, well, the message was fair. So 7 for me.
Thank you for watching. My name is Elsie Godwin. Please, if this is your first time of visiting this channel, kindly subscribe by clicking the red button below, and also hit the bell button so you get notified each time there's a new content. If there is a movie you think we should review or talk about, or there are angles to a certain movie you think we should elaborate in terms of the lessons, kindly send me a DM on Instagram and Twitter. That's ELSIEISY. My details is on your screen and definitely in the description box. So send me a DM and let us know what you want us to talk about. Till I come your way again, please do take care of yourself and be safe out there. Bye.